what did you do internally and why, and help people understand, this part that they may not be able to see?
That I did hear some of that, initially with the Gen 6 is people were kind of speculating what the Gen 6 was gonna be. And some of the speculation was, it was gonna be a complete design change.
I'm Ryan Gresham, and this is Gun Talk Nation.
Gun Talk Nation is brought to you by NRA ARC, T-Sauce, Range Ready, and Black Hills Ammunition. Hey, welcome into Gun Talk Nation. Today on Gun Talk Nation, we are talking with Shane Coley from Glock. I mean, you guys have probably heard of Glock. They make guns, they make pistols. They're pretty well known and do a pretty good job at that. Shane, welcome in, man. You guys have been kind of making waves lately because pretty much anytime Glock does a new thing, it makes news because you guys do what you do it well, and you're not the kind of company that tends to bring out like 40 new products every year. So when you change something or bring out something new, all the gun people are like, oh my God, oh my God. So, I mean, we got to get you on here to talk about V-Series, Gen 6, and kind of update us on all these things. So, I mean, first off, if people don't know who you are, talk about, what you do in your background, what you do with Glock.
So Shane Coley, I'm the captain of Team Glock. I've been with the organization now for, let's say, about 10.5 years, so a little over a decade. I came from the Army Marksmanship Unit, which I think a lot of people have heard about. I spent almost 7 years there and then came to Glock following my time in the Army. And I've been a professional shooter for 22 years now, so pretty much the entirety of my life I've spent behind a pistol. And still compete, manage the team, make sure that the girls are taken care of, trained up. And then obviously stuff like this, media communications, talking to the customers, and trying to give back wherever I can.
So how much, as a pro shooter, a guy who's an actual, like, very skilled shooter, how much do you get involved with a development of product and improving product at Glock?
I would say a relatively decent amount. I've worked with project teams on different designs or developments, just trying to offer support where I fit in. We have a large team that handles a lot of these developments and projects and stuff, and they're all phenomenal guys, and girls. Our project teams, they very involved in development and R&D and testing. So I try to bring in some expertise, some ideas, and then we work together and figure out how to integrate these things and how to continue making the best pistol.
Well, I mean, obviously, you're not an engineer. You guys have all these really super skilled engineer type folks there. You don't get into the metallurgy perhaps, but you can certainly say, hey, these are things that help you shoot better, and these are the features that we can, update on certain things, right?
Sure. Yeah. And it's, you're right. I'm not an engineer. But there are things that we as shooters have seen over the years, different ideas, different maybe just features or things like that, that we think maybe could be good changes or updates or features that we want to offer to the customers. So I think over the years of experience and trial and error, and trying different things out and changing different things and seeing what works, what may not work, or what may be older technology versus new and upcoming technology, and how do we implement those things to better serve the customer. I think being behind a pistol so much and spending so much of my career behind a pistol, then I've seen a lot of that, I guess, trial and error per se, where this worked really well, guys. People use this for a long time. This really excelled people's shooting abilities, or this may be a good idea that maybe wasn't as applicable once it came to a product. So kind of offering those ideas or that expertise, I feel is kind of more where my role sits.
Gotcha. So, I mean, we had the end of this year, 2 big announcements from Glock, and like I said, got people all into a tizzy. So
Yeah.
first up, the V-Series, and we've covered it a bit and tried to explain it. But it was kind of surprising because I heard people say they were confused about the V series, and then Gen 6 was announced not long after that. So, how do you explain, to people like when they go, okay, wait a minute, now there's this V series, what is it, and how does it affect what was done in the past?
The V series, I think the common miscommunication that I've heard from individuals on social media or talking to people at different events of the range is that we made the V series for California, which is not the case. The V series, in a simple nutshell, is essentially a new baseline of our products. So we launched it first before Gen 6, and it covered essentially all the models that Gen 6 doesn't currently have. With the Gen 6 launch, of course, it's launching with 3 models: the 19, the 45, and the 17. So the V series will have other models included in that, like the 22 MOS or the 23 MOS or the G20 MOS, which we don't have yet in Gen 6. So the V series, there's a price difference for that. It's essentially a Gen 5, same Gen 5 features externally, but there was some internal changes for manufacturing efficiency that we knew going into Gen 6 launch coming right around the corner. So like I said, in a simple nutshell, the V series is a baseline of product with availability that's not yet available in Gen 6. And then, of course, the Gen 6 was followed right after that.
So the V series, you kind of have like the full line of what you've been doing in the past. I mean, basically the Gen 5s, kind of an update there, right?
Correct.
So if somebody says, but the Gen 6 isn't in 10 millimeter, well, you can buy a V series. And
Correct.
also, there'll be new Gen 6s. I mean, I'm not spilling the beans and you haven't said anything to me. I'm just saying, like, obviously, the Gen 6 is the new hotness and you're going to keep expanding on that. I mean, right?
Right. Yeah. And, the idea, I think, was, with Gen 6 launch, we only have, for the initial launch, and we only have the 3 models. So, the G20, super popular model, the G44, the G19X, all those are popular models, and they're just not maybe Gen 6 yet. So we still wanted to be able to offer those with the V series.
There are an enormous amount of Glocks out there that are still in use, whether that's professionally for, on duty or just people that shoot them all the time in competition or whatever, Gen 3s, Gen 4s, Gen 5s. Will people be able to like service those guns? Are they just like discontinued? How's that work?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Well, we know that there's still Gen 1s in distribution, Gen 1s all the way to through Gen 5. We know that those pistols are obviously still in the marketplace. So we have a maintained parts inventory, and warranty and tech services will absolutely be able to work on those pistols. So if an individual has, I don't know, say a Gen 4 17, and something happens where they need warranty work on it, then we'll still have a parts inventory where we can service those pistols.
Okay.
Just because we don't have a Gen 5 G17 anymore, or whichever model, doesn't mean that person is now sitting on an island with that particular pistol model.
Perfect. That was a big concern for people because they love their Glock, and
Of course.
and they may like, I love my Gen 3 and I'm not changing. Like, okay, fine. Well, we got you. It's okay.
Yeah, we got you.
So we ought to talk about Gen 6 because that is, like I said, the new hotness. I mean, I was out there and I shot it. I'd like to talk, before we kind of get into it, talk about the development of this. Kind of what's the backstory? How long have you guys been working on this, and maybe some of the testing, and how's this come together?
So Gen 6 has been it's been a project long time in the making, is what I would say. It's been around for a handful of years, and the last generation launch we had obviously was Gen 5, and I believe that was back in 2017 or 2018. So we're looking at almost an 8-year gap between generational change. And granted, with the Gen 5, we filled in models after the initial launch for the different calibers and different pistol sizes. But it's been a long time since we've done a generational launch. And what we did, the backstory with the Gen 6 is, we took a lot of customer feedback. Over the years, we've heard people talk about grip texturing, for example. We've heard about the undercuts, the beaver tails, some cosmetic looks, or what have you, as far as the customer feedback. But we took all that feedback, and that kind of started the development of Gen 6, because we wanted to offer a pistol a design change or a feature update that best served the customer. So we tried our best to give everything we could, and it started with customer feedback. So I think, over the years we've heard all these different things, these different ideas, and you've heard people stippling a grip or changing out triggers or silicone carbide or something like that, grip tape. So we've heard all of these different things that people are doing to or modifications that people are doing to their pistol, and we're like, well, what if we can implement that here at the factory, and then provide the customer with that from us, and it hopefully simplifies the process for the end user.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that kind of came to me as we were shooting these guns out at your place is, for a lot of people, Glock is where they start. For a lot of people, it is the first handgun they own. So if we can make that first handgun ownership experience even better, and there's kind of an enormous responsibility for you guys, knowing like, hey, yeah, we're the gun that people like default to. I mean, it's like the Charmin, of Kleenex or whatever, right? Like they start there if they buy it, and then they shoot it and enjoy it because it's a shootable gun. That's going to help. It's like, oh, shooting guns is fun. Oh, I can keep doing this. I can expand what I'm doing here. Instead of like, yeah, I bought this thing, I shot it, I don't love it, it's not comfortable to shoot. Like, these upgrades are, yes, for the gun nerds, we love it. It's going to help, the guys who are shooting USPSA or the cops on duty, certainly. But like, there's kind of a bigger overarching thing that the Gen 6 can actually help in gun ownership and gun rights.
Yeah, and you mentioned the customer experience, the shooting experience as a whole. I think that's a really important factor that plays into this, because if this is your first entrance into purchasing a pistol, right? You buy we'll say a G17, just to make it simple, and your shooting experience it's not phenomenal. Well, now you have all of these different options of things that you can do to modify, right? You can stipple the grip, you can buy the grip tape, you can change a trigger, you can change your sights, you can add optics, you can do all these stippling jobs. There's so many modifications that you can do, and in my eyes, granted, this is my personal opinion, to me it seems overwhelming to someone that's new, right? They may not understand all the different options that are available, and then they get inundated with all these options of, you can do this and this and this, and it's like, well, what is best? What is good? What do I need? What do I don't need? What am I willing to spend my money on? So I think if like I said, we tried our best to listen to all of that customer feedback and implement that here from the factory to not only give them the best product, but also make that experience so much better, so that when they receive the product, it feels great, it shoots great, it's extremely accurate. They have all of these different feature updates that maybe could be inundating to them or overwhelming to them already implemented. So it just eases the burden of, what do I need to change? What do I need to do? Now I have this pistol. I love this pistol. I love shooting the gun. Because ultimately, when you buy a pistol, if you don't enjoy shooting it, then you're likely not going to shoot it very much.
Yeah.
So
and a lot of people either don't know that they can do those mods and upgrades, or they're just not going to. They go, well, I don't know. I mean, it should just be this way out of the box. And it's great if you can give them something right out of the box that is just like kind of optimized for a good shooting experience. Now, Shane, there's certain things that you guys did. There's a few things that you did internally that people may not be able to see or understand right off the bat. But after the break, I want you to talk about those and explain what you did. TSOS double-stack 1911 pistols bring expanded capacity and modern features to a classic platform built on forged high-capacity frames and chambered in 9mm. These pistols are designed for shooters who want the feel of a 1911 with more rounds on tap. At SDS Arms, they carry all TSOS double-stack models, the 1911 Duty DS, Carry DS, and Night Stalker DS. Each model features modern machining, enhanced ergonomics, and high-capacity performance at a price that puts custom-style features within reach. TSOS double-stack 1911 pistols. Own an AR? Then it's time to really learn what it can do. The NRA's America's Rifle Challenge, or ARC, is the ultimate way to train and test your skills and compete safely with your AR-style rifle. Whether you're a new owner or a seasoned pro, ARC offers progressive training and fun. Action-filled matches from 10 yards to 400. Rimfire, PCC, and suppressors are welcome. It's time to get out of the booth or off the sighting bench and pressure test yourself and your setup in competition. Find an event or start your own at arc.nra.org. That's arc.nra.org. And if you're a gun club, reach out to host an ARC event at your range. The 2026 Winter Sectionals are fast approaching. NRA ARC. Back in 1999, Black Hills Ammunition started developing the Mark 262 Mod 1C for the U.S. Navy. It's a 5.56 military precision round, and now it's available to you. Comes in military ammo cans containing 460 rounds of 20-round cartons. And the big deal here is accuracy. 10 groups of 10 shots each at 300 yards, and that has to shoot a sub 2-inch group. That is crazy accurate. Black Hills Ammunition, the power of performance. What if you could be significantly better with your firearms in a short time? At Range Ready Studios, we offer handgun and rifle classes to help you be the best you can be. You'll be safer, more competent, and just better at the range. We also offer special experience classes, which include the gun, the ammo, the gear, and the training. Learn more at rangereadystudios.com. All right, we're back. Shane, so I've probably done a mediocre job explaining, but I'm gonna set it up for you, and then I'll let you actually tell us what's really going on here. One of the things about Glock pistols is you kind of said, and you guys said it when I was there, is like, look, these things are tried and true, super reliable, super safe. We're not completely redesigning Glock pistols, but we are making some updates to it. One of the things is, obviously, a lot of people are running optics on their guns. The Glock wasn't originally, well, no gun before, 10 years ago was even designed for that. And so now you're kind of seem to be making some updates and improvements because you have to cut into the slide, it lowers everything. There's internals going on. What did you do internally and why, and help people understand, this part that they may not be able to see?
That I did hear some of that initially with the Gen 6, as people were kind of speculating what the Gen 6 was going to be. And some of the speculation was, it was going to be a complete design change. Mm-hmm. And obviously that's not the case. The Gen 6 does have some updates and design changes and feature updates, but at the core of what the Gen 6 is, it's still everything that people know from Glock. It still has the same durability, the same reliability. But we did make some design changes, and in regards to like the optic, the mounting, we have the new optic ready system. So it's 3 polymer optic plates, but internally from that, we changed the extractor module. So in previous generations, we had the EDP, or the extractor depressor plunger, that was inserted from the rear of the slide, and it had an entire channel that it ran down where it made contact with the extractor. And what that did is it shortened the thread that we were able to drill into the slide to mount optics. So because what would happen sometimes is, if you put Loctite on the optic screw and it was maybe a touch too long, you could get Loctite into the EDP channel, which could then bind up the EDP in the extractor. Or you could install a super long screw unintentionally and then bind up the EDP that way. So we removed the EDP out of the rear of the slide, and now we have an extractor module, which is a really small piece that is spring-loaded internally, that holds the extractor in place, but it frees up the rear portion of the slide where we get a much deeper thread pitch or thread channel. So now you can use longer optic screws. We get more thread attachment, and I think it increases the durability of the optic attachments. So that's one internal change that some people may not see, but I think it was a very good change because it offers more durability with optic mounting.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a ton of sense to me, and I could see you guys doing more of that going forward. I would think other gun companies would kind of making those adjustments in maybe some legacy products where you say, yeah, we're cutting into the slide now to mount these optics because that's kind of the common thing, and we need to think about the internals if they weren't maybe optimized for that.
Yeah, I agree. And the big thing with optic mounting is everyone wants durability, right? No one wants to have screws that are shearing off, or optics that are losing zero or coming loose, or screws backing out because there's not enough thread attachment. So we looked at that, and we saw that, hey, there's an opportunity for us to do this Does this make sense? Is this going to be a benefit or a net positive for the end user? And I personally think it is. I think when I look at the system now, we have the polymer optic plate, and it kind of acts as like a crush washer, like we talked about at the launch event. But we get that deeper thread, and it's a stronger attachment. And with us drilling into the slide further with no EDP channel to worry about, then we also get a lower mounting of the optic, so it sits
Nice.
a little bit lower in the slide.
Yeah. Talk about the testing you guys did, because I mean, it was kind of a team effort, I guess, between Glock US and Glock over in Austria. Talk about all that, because I'm sure that the testing was ridiculous.
Yes, I mean, it was very extensive testing. We had teams in the US and teams in Austria, a lot of collaborative efforts on both sides. And we talked to them almost every single day and work extremely well together. But the testing was very extensive. Like I said, Gen 6, the project itself has been around for a handful of years. And with that, there have been different development phases on initial concept ideas that we tested, and maybe they didn't work. So, okay, now we go back to the drawing board on how do we fix this? And that cycle happened pretty often until we found, or we got to the right solution. And one of the things that we mentioned at the media event was we're not looking for the next big thing. We're looking for the next right thing, and we wanted to find the right solution for the customers. So there was a lot of testing involved with that. A lot of rounds fired out of the concept models. Even from a safety feature like drop testing. I know on the panel discussion, Jeremy talked about that we dropped from like 13 different positions, and throughout all of those drop tests in different positions, we were not allowed to have any indentations on the primer, or we had to go back and find a solution for it if there was. And through all the drop tests, we passed all the drop tests. We passed all of our standard testing procedures. So as we move into Gen 6, the DNA of what Glock is still absolutely there. The reliability's there, the durability's there. We just now have some of the feature changes.
Are there things you guys do in testing that maybe others don't do, or you go like a little bit further with it?
I'm not sure I can say that we do things that others don't. But I can say that our testing is extremely thorough. I think we sit down and we view every possible thing that could potentially go wrong and try to address it to the best of our abilities. And through that ideology, we have a very extensive testing process or procedure. And it's extremely thorough. A lot of rounds downrange once we get to maybe a design release. Once we manufacture the molds or whatever, then there's a lot of rounds put downrange. There's a lot of people involved in that testing process. So it's a very extensive testing, and it works for us.
Shane, you're a guy who, because you've been shooting competitions for so long, you've run red dots on pistols for a long time, right? This is not a new idea to you. I think the competition guys were way ahead of that, of like, yeah, we're running these crazy mounts and these crazy optics, 20 years ago.
Early 2000s.
What is it about putting dots on handguns that is perhaps challenging, or what could happen with guns, with whether the weight, because you think about it, it's running on a slide that's reciprocating back and forth. Talk about some of those things that you've encountered over the years that people might run into.
I think there of course can be a challenge with optics mounted on pistols. And I think as that has progressed in the industry, that some of the problems have gone away, or some of the problems that we saw initially have gone away. Because I mean, you're mounting an optic to a slide that's reciprocating at insane speeds. And initially, the question could be, were the optics designed to take a beating like that? Because you got the slide going back and hitting the back of the frame, or the lock and block, or a barrel lug, and then going back forward over and over and over again. So was the optic designed for this? Are we going to hold zero? Are the screws built for this? Is the material built for this? And I think a lot of those issues have significantly gotten better over the years. But I think one challenge with optics that people face is they come from iron sights. This always, every pistol known to man that I'm aware of comes with a set of iron sights. So that's generally what a lot of people maybe shoot first or have experience on. And there's a focal plane shift there. You're focused on the front sight, target focus. There's kind of conflicting methodologies in that idea. But then you go to an optic and there is no real focal plane shift. It's just put the dot on the center of the target. And it should simplify the process of shooting, but oftentimes people, well, I can't find the dot. How do I find the dot?
Sure.
So I think that's some challenges that people face. And the simple rule of thumb that I offer individuals with that is, if you find the front sight, you'll 9 times out of 10 find the dot.
Yeah. It
Very
really
simple way
is
to put
crazy
it.
because we don't think about it much. I mean, if you just pick up and shoot guns and you're not designing guns, like this little electronic optic with glass it's literally like you're going bunk, 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 bunk.
Yeah.
Like, if you're running it between 2 2x4s and just hitting it. Because I mean, it's running and stopping and running and stopping. It's kind of remarkable that it actually just continues to work.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, the technology that the optic manufacturers have implemented into the optics over the years significantly has increased since the early 2000s when I started shooting optics on pistols. And back then we were using crazy frame mounts where the optic was stationary, and we still had optic issues back then. And I started that in, I think I started shooting a red dot in like 2006. And they were doing that before I started. So even way back then, we had aluminum frame mounted optics where the optic was stationary, but we still had optic issues because we were running old red dot diodes mounted into the body of the red dot itself. And we still had connectivity issues and zero issues. We had screws backing out.
Yeah, back then it was like, I think it was a 2-cycle that ran it, right? You had to pull start it. You kind of get your oil gas mixture right to get the red dot to turn on. Man, what else is going on with you guys at Glock? I mean, these days it's kind of like Gen 6 is the big deal. It's funny how this is always the case, no matter the company. You introduce something new and they go, what is it? Okay. And then they are asking for like, what's next or how are you going to expand on it? I mean, what has the reaction been? What's the feedback been?
Of course, right now, Gen 6 is everything we're working on. So far, I think the reaction has been positive. I haven't seen anything negative on it from my side. I think the market seems very excited for the feature updates and changes that we've implemented into Gen 6. The initial models, like I said, will be the G19, the G45, and the G17. So that's what we'll bring to market on, be available January 20th. And of course, people will always ask what's next. And we're always in development. It's what we always tell people, and it's true. We are always in development of what's coming in the future. But with that, I tell people to stay tuned because I can't spill all the secrets. You know that. But we always have new stuff coming, and we're trying to give the best product we can to our customers.
And I will say this, Shane, we went over there for this media event, this launch event, and I've been to a lot of product launch events, and sometimes the product is like maybe not quite ready, perhaps. It's like it's a initial production run, but there might be issues, right? Whether it's a gun, a scope, whatever it might be. You run into some issues, especially when you get dozens of people shooting thousands of rounds through this product. Sometimes there's hiccups. And even then I'll kind of give people a pass and go, okay, they know there's an issue and they're fixing it and they whatever, right? You guys had, I think, 80 to 100 people at this event. And at least my session of shooting it, I had no issues. I didn't see anyone else have any issues, which is a great testament to like, this thing is ready to roll right out of the gate. A variety of shooters, different hands, different skill levels. I mean, that's kind of been what you guys have always been known for. I mean, anybody can pick these up and shoot them and they run reliably. And I found that to be true on the Gen 6.
Yeah. And I will say that after the media event, I didn't hear of any malfunctions or any issues that from the range portion of the event. And I would say that I think that's a testament to the testing that we put into the pistol before we brought it to market or brought it to the launch. And also the team that was involved with this. We have, like I said, we have an amazing team that has been working on this for a really long time. and we wanted to do everything we could to bring the best product to the market to offer to our customers. And like you said, there's different hand sizes, different grips, different grip strengths. There's a lot of different variables when someone picks up a new pistol and shoots. And at the end of the day, while Gen 6 may somewhat look different, have feature updates or changes, it is still the core of what Glock is. It still has the same reliability that we've always been known for, the same durability that we've always been known for. That DNA still lives inside of the Gen 6.
All right, Shane, as we kind of wrap up here, your favorite Glock, and then what's one of the guns that you guys have ever made, either making now or made previously, that you feel is like underrated or underappreciated?
That's a great question. Favorite gun, man. Favorite's always a tough question because I have this. There's so many variables
With all your
involved with favorites
kids,
on what
how you choose
what
one?
I'm using it for. Man, I think my new favorite as of right now, I would have to say the G17 Gen 6, because that's going to transition to be my competition gun for next year.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a lot of rounds through it. I've really, really enjoyed it. So I have to say that's my current favorite. I think one that you said maybe underrated, needs some more love.
Yeah.
Oh man. I think the G20, to be honest.
Yeah. People love that
G20.
gun.
The G20 it's such a great pistol, and it's extremely easy to shoot. But the applications are really endless. You can use it. I mean, I've heard of guys that have used the G20 for a carry gun, which, hey, more power to you. But guys that go out west, guys that are on hunts, guys that are super into outdoors, I think the G20 is extremely versatile in its applications. And I've had a ton of fun shooting one, even with, I don't know, some hard casts, 220 grain hard cast bullets. It's still very, very controllable.
And you know what's funny, and that is true. And a 10 millimeter pistol, I've shot a variety of 10 millimeter, and some you're like, golly, the power of the 10. And then some are super shootable. Like it's almost not that much different from shooting a 9, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, the G20 is a very shootable 10 millimeter. And obviously it's fun shooting 10 because then you go, man, you feel like you can kind of stretch it out, some longer distance shots. You do some hunting with it, obviously, for like Western or up north carry, which is a nice option. I mean, the old school guys would carry a 44 mag or 44 special, but it's kind of nice having more rounds, like double the rounds in the gun.
Yeah.
And a little bit easier to run it.
Yeah. And, I shot a G24, which is a 40 cal, for years and years and years. I've hundreds of thousands of rounds on one of those pistols. And the 40 is essentially just a short 10 millimeter. So I was kind of expecting a similar, recoil impulse. And when I got my first G20, it almost the same. Of course, when I go to a super hot ammo or like a hunt and load, of course I can obviously feel the difference in the recoil, but it's still extremely manageable. So the shooting experience as a whole, I thought was really awesome with the G20.
Yeah, that's I don't know if it's underrated because there are some cult followers of that gun and that certainly of that cartridge. So that's fun, man. Well, Shane, thanks for being all this, and I'll see you soon in Vegas, right, man?
Yeah, we're gearing up for SHOT Show. Another one
good.
coming soon.
That's from the horse's mouth. Shane Coley, Team Glock, the V series, the Gen 6. Go check them out. I mean, it's good to see a trusted platform, but doing some new updates. And I personally, I like the beaver tail. I like the flat trigger. These are these things that are noticeable and kind of improve the shooting experience. So thanks again, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right, that's it for us, everybody. We will see you next time on Gun Talk Nation.